ladies and gentlemen.
That ending always gets me.
Man, Jokic, man. I mean, there were so many images and so many videos I could have used, but that one's just my favorite, baby.
That's my favorite too. I love it.
It's the ultimate mic drop. But welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 3, Big 3. In the building. Really excited to sit here today with my brother Rob Scott of Rob's 2 Cents. Welcome to Mars, baby. Buckle up, take a seat. The show is about to be out of this world, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited about it today. We got a lot of things to talk about. Rob's favorite part of the show will obviously be the Warriors segment. We have a lot of things to talk about, positive and negative. And probably the most positive, in my opinion, is that Klay Thompson game winner, baby. 3 times that man has called game in his career against the Sacramento Kings. And Rob, one of those being 37 points in 1 quarter. But we're going to get into all of that and more in a little bit. First and foremost, I want to give a word from our sponsors of Welcome to Mars, Rob's 2 Cents, and Mike on the Mic, Bench Mob Chicago. You can check out Bench Mob Chicago on Bench Mob Chicago on Instagram, or check them out on benchmob.com to get all your new gear, all the things that you may potentially want to wear. You can get that t-shirt, you can get wristbands, you can get hoodies like I'm wearing right here. It's really dope. It's obviously got the Bench Mob. It's got a really cool Chicago Bull on the back. Rob Scott has a red beanie on right now. When he shows his beautiful face in a second, we'll be able to see that. But it's just an amazing site where you can do so many things as a Bulls fan and just find up your latest NBA and all Bulls news. Really exciting things that they have, like Shy Slamma-Jamma, the best dunk of the night. Last night went to Patrick Williams, who rarely does anything well, so I was really excited to see him do that. And then obviously you have individuals just talking about game days, talking about matchups, injury reports, box scores, and obviously my favorite segment, Mobber of the Night. The other night was Andre Drummond with 2 points, 2 assists, 5 rebounds, and 3 steals. But Mobber of the Night is probably one of my favorite segments because you just get to see the best bench mob on the scene, the one that pulls up to the game and says, "This my shit now." And you can check all that out on Instagram at Chicago Bulls, one and only Bench Mob Chicago. Or, like I said, benchmob.com. They also have cool training cards. They have cool rookie cards. They have a couple. Rob, I don't know if you've checked it out on their website recently. They have Michael Jordan rookie cards. They have all types of old school cards, Scottie Pippen. The list goes on. They got a few Kobe Whites. And
I got to get back into training all the cards, man. Like when I was, what was funny, to take it off topic for a second?
Yeah.
When I saw like how much Pokemon cards are worth
Dude.
nowadays, I'm like, dude, I used to have a book full of Pokemon cards.
Dude, like the actual book, too. Like, had the Pokemon cover and everything. Bro, I stole that from my sister. She's like 30-something now, so I don't care. But I stole that from her when I was a shorty. I have no idea where it's at. But just know, if you stop hearing from Mike Hughes, it's because I found that book and I'm a millionaire now. So that's
I'm
what
telling
happened.
you. Well, I had some additions, too. Yu-Gi-Oh cards, all type of stuff.
Without a doubt, man. But Rob, talk to me, baby. C-Red was in full effect last night. The Bulls floored.
I guess.
Well, that was the only thing we saw last night because the Bulls obviously lost the obviously famous and most talked about game all year was going to be the in-season tournament because that's the only playoff hopes that the Chicago Bulls had, and they're gone. But Rob, take me through what you thought, seeing the floor all red. Some people thought it was corny. Some people thought it was a little too extra. I did see Indiana's looked pretty bad. Rob, you're muted.
No, what you said that they look like the Chicago Sky.
Bro, they want to be the Chicago Sky so bad. I mean, it was awful. It was awful. But
Uh,
how'd you feel about it for the Chicago Bulls?
you know what? Honestly, all of the floors, I think they did a little too much. Like visually, it was painful, kind
Mm.
of. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, like, I don't think they had to do all that with the
Thought
court.
I was having a seizure sometimes, man. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie to
you know what I'm saying? It was too much. I thought I was gonna get epilepsy or something. I was
you.
like,
Swear to God, bro.
I was like, whoa, that was a little bit too much visually. But the games, though, surprisingly, considering the fact that players and coaches are only winning $500,000 in tournament commissioners cup, I guess
Hmm.
it was very competitive. I was shocked. I was shocked. Like teams really wanted to play, and I guess for some teams, this is their NBA championship. So
I was.
a lot of teams came out like swinging, and we saw some great games on Thursday when it started.
Hmm.
So I think they're
Hmm.
gonna only show them now Tuesdays and Thursdays, I believe.
Right.
Those are the only days for the in tournament game. So we'll see, but they definitely should go back to the drawing board with those courts.
Yeah, and you know what's like really it's very confusing to me, I
Yeah.
guess. The matchups are confusing to me because I'm like, all right, so say the Bulls lost, right?
Hmm.
And then the Bulls move on and then their schedule remains fine. So it has nothing to do with it. It doesn't impact the rest of the season. But I'm trying to figure out how they are in coordinating matchups because it's like, all right, so if you expected the Nets to play Boston at some point, but the Nets got out of it and then they play Boston a week later, that game has no meaning. That game has no impact. So I'm still trying to wrap my mind around how all of this is working. It's kind of a day by day thing. I'm still trying
It,
to figure out
I,
how it's working.
yeah, I think they're trying to. So I mean, the in tournament games are the in tournament games, but you're gonna play everybody in your group in the in tournament game.
Right.
But they're still gonna have other games like those Wednesday games and things like that, where you're still gonna, like I said, it all counts towards your regular season, and it ends on the 7th or the 9th.
Mhm.
So you still have like a full season to still see the matchups that you want to see.
Yeah, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. It was interesting. I didn't hate it. I did hate the Chicago Bulls jersey though. That was the most uncreative Microsoft Word ass jersey I've ever seen in my life. Bro literally just took Chicago, put it on the side going vertical, and was like, "This is money." And I'm like, "Bro, that is it could be so much better. There is so much to do with the skyline. There is so much to do with the city as a whole. I even said it. I think a big part of it that they can inquire is the L. I think inquiring the red line, the green line, the blue line, all the lines, getting that involved, trying to do the mapping system. I think there's so much you could do. And then they're just like, nah, just put Chicago on the front. Motherfuckers will buy it. And I'm like, bro, like you're not wrong, but you're not right for that. Like, that's not okay. But man, let's talk a little bit about the Bulls, man. We got to talk a little about the Bulls, just a little bit, get it out of the way. The woes continue, Rob. The woes continue. The Bulls are off to a horrendous start. I'm not excited about any of the upcoming games or anything we're going to be talking about. But today, man, we're going to start speaking things into existence, just talking about it a little too early. We're 2-4 facing off against the 5-1 Denver Nuggets. My sister will be at the game tonight in Denver, so that's cool. I told her, if you don't bring me home an Aaron Gordon or a Nikola Jokic jersey, you are no longer my sister. I will not watch them damn kids. But and you know what? I don't want any disrespect because I told my homie this. I said I wanted an Aaron Gordon Nuggets jersey. He goes, "How do you want Aaron Gordon over Jokic?" I said, "Just I like the number. I like having a number 50 jersey. I like that it's Aaron Gordon. I like Aaron Gordon as a hooper. He's a champion. Rob, am I wrong? Am I out of pocket?"
Yeah. Thanks, moms, for watching the show. One of my many mothers besides my actual mother who raised me growing up. So I appreciate you. Women's sports talk, yeah, they just choose how the jerseys look. But you said so you want Aaron Gordon over Jokic?
I didn't want him over it. I just said if you see an Aaron Gordon or a Jokic jersey, let me know. And my
Yeah,
homie was
because
like,
you're
"How?"
got a better chance of getting the Aaron Gordon jersey.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm not trying to disappoint myself. You know what I mean? I'm cool with the Aaron Gordon. Here's how I think, right? Because you agreed with me on this last year when we talked about it. I said I like having those jerseys that when people see them, they're like, "Yo, that's crazy." You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I have this Nate Robinson jersey that people, when they see me wear that to Bulls games, they're like, "Yo, that's tough that you still have that." And I'm like, "Bro, of course." Like I even bought myself the other night. I bought a Torrey Craig jersey. I understand the Bulls aren't going anywhere, but I love Torrey Craig as a player, so that's something I really wanted to invest in. I
We're gonna have
still
to talk about that.
we
I
definitely
think
gonna
you
talk.
like Torrey Craig too much, but
I don't think I do. I think I
uh,
like him just enough. I
I
think it's a
don't,
healthy obsession.
I
I
don't
do.
know. I don't
I
know where
do.
this obsession coming from.
I love it. I love it. But man, we're gonna get into it. Rob, let's cut the bullshit. Let's
Yeah.
cut the crap. Let's get real. We
Shout
have
out to
seen
bullshit.
shout out to bullshit, RIP, but it just didn't work out. This team gave us high blood pressure. We couldn't do a whole season of it. But just enough for it to be a segment on the show is okay
Yeah.
with me. But a whole season full of it, can't do it. Can't do it. It's just, you know what, the crazy thing about bullshit was, and this is a podcast that Rob and I started about a year ago, I think, just
Yeah.
about a year ago.
Hmm.
We just literally, you could have listened to episode 1 and it was the same as 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, and it was just so repetitive because none of the problems get solved, Rob. And that's
Yeah.
where I'm going with this is we are now 3 years into this regime, damn
Yeah.
near. The Blackhawks have the best jersey. I like that comment right up there.
My boy Elvis. That is his real name, y'all. What's happening?
That's no relation,
No
but
relation.
no relation. But no, man, we've been talking about this. We saw half a season of what
Yeah.
they could be. And
Yeah.
even then, people at ESPN, you, myself,
Yeah.
we all said, yeah, we're just happy to be here, bro. First in the East. Hey, we're just happy to be here. We're not taking this too deep. We're not taking too much into this. And then we've seen a season and a half so far of just mediocrity and just not where we want to be. So, Rob, talking about the NBA trade deadline, I heard somebody today on the Kenny Beecham podcast talk about the value of DeMar DeRozan, saying we would be lucky to get a legitimate first round pick, not a lottery pick, not an unprotected or protected first, a legitimate first round pick for DeMar. I want to ask you first and foremost, for the king of the fourth quarter, the mid range god, on an expiring deal, no contract extension in sight for DeMar DeRozan right now. Do you see any legitimate contenders trading for a guy like Debo? And what do you think the value the Bulls could get back for him is?
Um, I can see the Lakers reaching out for DeMar DeRozan. I don't know what you give up. Um, he was the former king of the fourth quarter. During his first year here, but he's definitely backtracked as a player. And I've been mentioning this on numerous episodes of Rob's Two Cents. I've mentioned this on Bullshit. I feel like Father Time is catching up with him quicker than it is with like a LeBron, so to speak. And he's not the same player. I mean, he's only went over 30 twice this year. I mean, once. I think he's only been over 30 points one time this year.
Mm,
So it. I think right now, if you're the Chicago Bulls, you want to try to get something for him. You don't want him to just leave and you get nothing. Especially considering the fact that you paid him a significant amount of money. And you
Overpaid
can't.
him at that, by the way. If you
Yeah,
guys don't
I think it was a
remember,
three-year, 84 mil, right?
if you don't remember, the reports were that the Bulls tripled anybody else's offer for DeMar DeRozan, which is crazy.
Yeah, because they got him from the Spurs. Like he came
Yeah.
over from the Spurs. So yeah, you know what? The Bulls right now they're in an interesting spot. I've always said with the Chicago Bulls, either rebuild, break this team or rebuild, or try to go get some high profile names out there
Mhm.
in free agency. But I don't want to be the ugly, middle child, so to speak. No disrespect to middle children all over the world, but I either want to be the best or I want us to absolutely suck. But I
Right.
don't want us to be stuck in this limbo, so to speak. I don't want to be stuck in purgatory where we're just subjective to fighting for a play-in position. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And that's exactly what's going to happen this year. The East is not the same East that we knew growing up. You know what I'm saying? The East actually has some competitive teams in the East now. You look at even though Philly's going through this debacle with James Harden and they finally able to get rid of him, You look at somebody like a Tyrese Maxey stepping up. You look at the Brooklyn Nets and a Cam Thompson making his name known from the ashes. You look at an Orlando Magic team now that is competitive with the Wagner brothers and so on and so forth. The East, Boston, Milwaukee. I can keep going, even though Cleveland hasn't been playing as well. I think they're better than the Bulls. So
Right.
I mean, it's like you look at that and you ask yourself as an organization, where are we going? Where are we going? Our hottest pick was Torrey Craig. As I mentioned to you, I have no problem with Torrey Craig.
Love
But if
Torrey.
that's the biggest acquisition you can get in free
Right.
agency, that's not a good acquisition.
Right.
Like,
And here was my thing about Torrey Craig, right? And I'm going to stand on this. Torrey Craig is a starter on a championship caliber team. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. And here's the thing, though. Here's the issue. Here's something that I think, not a lot of people are discussing is when you ask him to do what he is not supposed to do, is you're going to have issues. And that's one of the biggest things, Rob, is like when you say these names, or at least what these names and what this value should be. Zach LaVine, an all-star. Nikola Vucevic, an all-star. DeMar DeRozan, an all-star. Hey, my guy, Torrey, he should just be able to play his defense, create spacing, and shoot his threes. We saw him in game 1 off the bench, shot 75% from 3. And I'm not just taking that for what it was. I am saying this guy is one of the best 3-and-D defenders in the entire league. I love Torrey Craig and what he does. What he did, Rob, for that Phoenix Suns team last year was huge. He's a quiet assassin. He does his job. He does the dirty work. But when guys like Zach don't show up, when guys like DeMar or Vooch don't show up, when Vooch has 8 points going into the fourth quarter last night against, and respectfully, because Nick Claxton, a dog, but come on, bro, you get embodied by Ben Simmons. That's crazy, bro. I don't want to hear none of that. But I think, Rob, what would the value be of a Torrey Craig? I think there's a lot more value to Torrey Craig.
It's a value to a Torrey Craig. It's a value getting a player like Torrey Craig,
right?
If you have things in place.
Could you imagine Torrey Craig on the Denver Nuggets or the
Boston or the Los Angeles Lakers
or the Lakers? And I think that's beautiful.
It's a countless teams: the Boston Celtics, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Golden State Warriors.
Right.
Like if you have a situation where like he would be perfect with the Mavericks. Where your star player and your second star player on the team are doing their job. Then somebody like Torrey Craig is a welcome sight because, as you mentioned, he's a 3-and-D guy. He's a guy that's going to stay out the way, doesn't need the ball to be successful, but he's going to go out there and he's going to play hard defense. But the thing is, when you're a Chicago Bulls team that's looking for an answer, the Bulls are not that. That's just like and I get it. That's why I say I love the fact that you rocking with Torrey Craig. But with me, it was like, is that it?
Right.
Like that's all you go get.
That is not a knock, and I want to make it clear for anybody hearing what Rob's saying. That has nothing to do with Torrey Craig, though. That has everything to do with what this organization has failed to do. A number 4 overall pick. I want to throw some names at you, Rob. Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
Bunch of other dogs in this draft class.
Mm-hmm.
And we came away with Patrick Williams, who didn't. It's not like he became a bust. Here's the thing. I'm going to say this first and foremost. Patrick Williams is not a bust whatsoever.
He's exactly who I thought he was.
He's exactly who he thought he was. You know why, Rob? Because that's what he was. It was a bench player. He was not a starter.
Thank you. Like, bro, when we drafted Patrick Williams, and that's why I keep telling people, I'm not coming at Patrick Williams. Right. What I'm saying is we wasted the 4th draft pick in the draft.
Right.
Not 4th round. Mm-hmm. Not, second round, 4th spot. We're talking about 4th spot in the 1st round of the draft on a bench player.
And you know what? There were guys who maybe their careers haven't lined up to what we want them to be, but they had so much more tape of them. Denny Avdija came from overseas. They were calling him the next Luka. And you know what? The stats, the games all showed that was something you were willing to take a chance on. Obi Toppin was an absolute monster in college, and he was somebody I was willing to take a chance on. There were guys that were sneaky off the radar. Tyrese Halliburton. There was, Tyrese Maxey, like we named earlier. All these different guys that we could have potentially went out on a limb and got, and it just didn't reciprocate. And here's my thing. It's not the first time. because Mitch Trubisky wasn't a horrible quarterback, but the fact that you traded up to get him at number 2 and Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson went after him makes it look 10 times bad. If the Bears went out and got Mitch Trubisky 15th overall in the first round, I wouldn't have been mad at it. I wouldn't have been mad at it. Just same way with people want to say what they say. The same way with Justin Fields. They got him at 11. That's not bad. I'm fine with Justin Fields at 11. That's a steal. Trey Lance at 3. Zach Wilson at 2. Crazy. Cracked out of your damn mind. Now Mac Jones at 16 and whatever, wherever Mac Jones went, whatever, I don't care. But the point of that is all on Arturis. That is all on Mark. These guys have not drafted well. Dalen Terry is a social media meme. I have not seen Dalen Terry get legitimate minutes on this team yet or show me anything. Io doesn't get legitimate minutes, but at least when he's on the court, he's showing me something. Dalen Terry shows me nothing. He looks like an export hooper. That's not me being disrespectful. That's me being real, Rob. Me and you go up against Dalen Terry every Sunday. As Rob, here's the thing. And you mentioned Dallas for Torrey Craig.
Yeah.
I want to spend a little bit more time on the Bulls. Once we hit 25-minute mark, y'all got to stop me because we got stuff to talk about. But what do you think about DeMar DeRozan to the Dallas Mavericks? I think they played.
Who do you get?
I'm looking at it right now. So DeMar makes $27 million this year. I think you would get Tim Hardaway, who has 1 year left on his deal after this season.
Yeah.
You probably get
a Dwight
second-round pick. A Dwight Powell.
That's what I'm saying. Like right now, the Bulls are in purgatory. Unfortunately, we don't want them to be, but they're just at that point now. They need to do what Portland kind of did. You cut your losses. You try to get as much draft capital. I'm not even worried about players at this point because players are kind of where they at. You know what I mean? At this point, if you can get as much draft capital as you can, and try to rebuild, get you some nice young players, get you a nice young core, try to get rid of Zach and get that contract off your hands. I think that's just where we're at with the Bulls.
So last topic
about what's I love, bro.
Last topic about the Bulls, though, I want to talk to you about because Vooch, I feel like is the hard. I don't want to talk about Vooch because I think that's the most unpredictable one. Trading for a center in this league is really weird. I couldn't sit here and say who's going to trade for a legitimate center, and that's just tough. You know what I mean? I think it's a solid deal. I think somebody would be willing to, but I just don't know. I kind of do see them holding on to Vooch, but Zach is the question. What is the value of a Zach LaVine if you are an opposing team? What are you willing to give up? Because I see a guy who solid scorer, but let's be real, Rob. I see Donovan Mitchell. I see Mikal Bridges. I see a bunch of other guards in this league go out here. And man, bro, they give me assists. Zach LaVine's 51-point game. 0 assists. Not one. The man cannot facilitate. The man does not want to make his teammates better. He's really just all about himself. He gets trapped in automatics and isolations and a bunch of other stuff. I see him defensively trying, but man, listen. My nephew can try to hit a home run over the fence. At the end of the day, that man is 2. It ain't happening. I don't care. It's not happening. And John just said it right here. Shout out to John Brown.
Shout out to my boy.
But man, let's be real. A lot of those stats come from him setting isolations and him just trying to bank on himself. And a lot of the time, we saw last night, game-winning shot. Boop, Bulls lose by 2. Misses a free throw. Misses the second one on purpose. Hey, we got this.
This is my thing. This is my thing with Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine he has to come to the realization that he's just not that guy.
Well, wait, I want to ask you this before you go on. You ready for this? I'm gonna set you up. This is about to be the lob of the century. Do you think Zach already knows that, and the only person that doesn't is the Bulls front office?
I think Zach still thinks he's that guy. I think Zach, my boy right here, appreciate you for watching, brother. Thank you. And that's what it comes down to. Zach wants to be that guy, and I think that's his problem. In his mind, he thinks I'm who you guys are trying to make DeMar DeRozan. I should be the fourth quarter guy. I should be the go-to guy. I should be the number one option on this team. You're not. And he gets in his mind sometimes, as my boy John alluded to, of hogging the ball, not wanting to pass to anybody because in his mind he thinks that, hey, I'm gonna get up my 30 shot attempts and I deserve every one of them. And it sucks, bro. It really does because when you have a guy that's so delusional, you know what I mean? Like you're delusional, bro. Like I get that the Bulls paid you all this money, but you can even see that's affecting DeMar because DeMar is like, let me try to get Zach the ball, to satisfy him. No, Zach's not that guy. Zach is a number 3, 4 best player on the team at best. That's just how it is, brother.
No,
Like
I hear you.
look at his stats, bro. Like he has a lot of empty calorie stats. How do you put up 50 against a team and nobody bats an eye about it? He's not making national coverage and let Luka go out here and score 50 right now. We're all going crazy.
And here's the thing, Rob, too, with what you just said. If I'm not mistaken, Zach was the first player this year to score 50 points. No one said a word.
Yeah.
No one cares. Chicago purgatory. That's what happens, baby. I mean, that's just real. That's just real. But we're going to move on from Chicago. We spent way too much time talking about him. I do want to get to John's comment really quickly because John's been carrying the show tonight. Great comments. We appreciate you guys tuning in, listening live. If you're listening on Facebook or Spotify or YouTube, make sure you hit that follow button. And coming up tonight, be on the lookout for it. Rob and I are going to promote it. We are making a Welcome to Mars YouTube page. If anybody can't follow us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, we'll always be here on the book talking about it. Man, John says he probably can be that guy somewhere like in Houston. His game is like a little baby version of Harden. I'd take a young Jalen Green and get someone to further develop him. Listen, John, I'm going to say this right now. Anybody in this league I will take for Zach LaVine, not named Kevin Porter Jr. That's the only person I wouldn't do. That's the only person I wouldn't do right now. But we got a next topic. This one's going to be quick because we kind of already covered it in the last game. But Rob told me to hit the pause button last week. Rob told me, hold on. We got to see what's happening. We had the Slim Reaper versus Slender Man Part 2. The saga continues. I told Rob the best matchup that I've seen since LeBron versus Curry in the finals. Rob, Victor pulls it out again, 132-121. This was a game that the Spurs had the lead of a 19-point lead at one point, and the Suns came back with Devin Booker and brought it back down to like a 2-point game with a couple minutes left. I want to talk to you really quickly.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant, 28, 6 and 1 in 37 minutes, and Victor Wembanyama, 38, 2 and 10, with several blocks in this game in 34 minutes.
Yeah.
Is it finally start to have a conversation about KD versus Wemby?
I think I wouldn't say the conversation is KD versus Wemby. I think we finally have to have a conversation where everybody takes Kevin Durant off this high horse. KD is not who y'all thought he was. Now, don't get me wrong. He's a 7-foot assassin. He's a killer. He can score the ball with ease. But KD does not equate to winning. He only wins when the situation is perfect. I'm sorry. His career would tell you that. In the words of Skip Bayless, what does your eyes tell you? And when you really watch a game, what does your eyes tell you? Let's look at Kevin Durant's history. He was with Oklahoma City. He was with the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's playing with two guys that are going to be first ballot Hall of Famers in James Harden and Westbrook. Were they young? Yes, but they were talented. They made it to the NBA Finals. They lose. They end up getting back to the playoffs. By this time, Harden is gone. He's making his noise in Houston, but KD and Westbrook are still there, and they are still a core. They make it there. They get to the Warriors. You had this team beat 3-1. All you got to do is win a game and bring it home. Do they win? No. What does Kevin Durant do? He say, you know what? If you can't beat them, join them. And he goes and joins this Warriors team, who, by the way, lost 3-1 to LeBron. They blew a 3-1 lead as well. But they were 73-9 that year. You basically replaced Harrison Barnes with Kevin Durant. That's what I'm saying. They were 73-9. with Harrison Barnes. You replace that with Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant goes on to win 2 NBA championships. Would have won the third one even without him. It's just if Clay didn't go down against Toronto. I think if Clay stays healthy, Golden State beats Toronto. And
I agree.
I don't think they needed KD. And then you get mad and you say, oh well, they'll never love me like they love Steph. Let me get out of here. I bet me and Kyrie can go do the same thing me and Steph just did. You can't. You can't because the situation wasn't perfect. They leaned on you to be the man, and you couldn't take it. Now you're with Phoenix. You couldn't win with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. They get rid of Chris Paul and bring in a Bradley Beal. And Mike, what you didn't mention in that Wemby duel is that Devin Booker played. So Wemby not only outdueled Kevin Durant, he outdueled both of y'all.
Mm-hmm. And he played very well, too. I will say that. Devin Booker went out there. He balled out
He got
31
points.
13, and 9.
Yeah.
Almost had a triple-double, one shy of a triple-double. And honestly, man, I mean, it was a beautiful thing to watch of Devin Booker. So I want another lob for you, another Kobe Shaq lob. Man, I want to throw this one at you because I've heard the comparisons all week long. I've heard it for a couple years now, and it kind of it comes in cycles. It comes in waves.
Yeah.
The Mamba mentality, Kobe Bryant comparison with Devin Booker. Rob, I'm going to give you the entire floor.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Is that premature? Is that legitimate? Like, what do you think is true about that statement, and what do you think is just blasphemy?
I think Devin Booker has the mentality. To compare any young player to one of the greats and they haven't done anything is disrespectful. Just like I love Anthony Edwards. But the fact that people keep calling him Michael Jordan really gets under my skin. I said, whoa, that's a tall task for anybody, let alone a guy who he hasn't even consistently made the playoffs. You know what I mean? You calling this guy Michael Jordan. And I love Devin Booker. I think Devin Booker made his legend in the bubble when, he was able to go undefeated in the bubble, even though his team didn't make the playoffs, just due to how bad they played earlier that year. For him to go into the bubble, to refocus, to go undefeated, remember that game winner that he hit against Kawhi and Paul George against the Clippers. I mean, he started to build his legend then. And with him and Chris Paul, what they did with that Phoenix team, making it to the NBA Finals, losing to Giannis, of course, in 6, but they made it. You know what I mean? And I think Devin Booker, he's one of those guys, man. I didn't believe in him at first, but he has really turned me around to his game. But I still say, let's pump the brakes before we start to give these guys these accolades and they haven't put in that work.
100%, 100%,
Yeah.
100%. I'm rocking with it, Rob. I'm rocking with it. What do you think about? Like, here's my honest opinion, right?
Yeah.
Where do you think champions fall in line when you discuss the Mamba mentality? Because 5 of them things, don't forget, and you know what, 6 of them things, because he did win for Team USA as well. So what do you think the importance of that is when you talk about a guy like Kobe Bryant? When you make that type of comparison, it's kind of like when you look at Michael Jordan. You can't compare yourself to Michael Jordan if you don't have the blingage that comes with it.
Yeah, you have to have not just the accolades, but you also have to have the championships. I mean, championships matter at the end of the day. Nobody's out there playing. If you're out there playing just to play, then and you wonder why you make that size of a contract. That's why, because you don't take the game seriously. I'm talking about guys who take the game seriously. I was just listening to a story. Tyrese Maxey, so to speak. He has his own podcast, and Tyrese Maxey was talking about him going into the gym to train with LeBron. And he said he got to the gym early. He was excited, like, oh, I'm about to go play with LeBron. And he got to the gym, and LeBron had just got there. LeBron actually showed up while he was there. And, they were talking and everything and had a good training section. He said the next day he got there early again. By the time he got there, LeBron was already done with his first workout and a full sweat. And he's like, man, what you doing? He's like, man, I saw how early you came to the gym. I can't be letting you, beat me here to the gym. You know what I mean? And that's just the mind of a champion. I think that's something he learned from a Kobe Bryant, playing with him in 2008 on that Redeem team. And guys like him, Wade, Melo, got to see how much of a psycho Kobe was and how much he wanted to win. And that's psycho in a good way. that cycle in the way of, I am fully, uh, into what I'm doing, and fully passionate about what I'm doing, to the point where I'm gonna give everything 110%. And you don't see that from guys nowadays. You just don't see that. Me and my boy John was actually talking on the phone earlier, and I was like, it's amazing what LeBron is doing in year 21. But if you ask me on my overall, all-time player list, I still got LeBron at third. And I'm like, yeah, but it's because longevity to me doesn't equate to dominance. What did you do in that period? It only took Mike 15 years or 13 years to dominate. He didn't have to play to 21 years to dominate. He made his statement in those 13 years, and then he was off in the sunset. You look at Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant ended up playing for 20 years, but look at what he did. He dominated in those 20 years, especially once he had to leave Shaq. Even though the Lakers were horrible, look what Kobe was doing with the team that he had. He had a Sasa Vujacic, Chris Mim, Smush Parker. Had a team full of bums. And he was taking these guys to the promised land, scoring 81 on Toronto. That's what I'm saying. What do you do with that longevity? Now, LeBron, to me, is still a Mount Rushmore player. He's an all-time great. And when this is all said and done, he is one of them. You know what I mean? And that's what players should aspire to be. You should aspire to be a Mount Rushmore player. I just don't know, if everybody has that mentality. It's to me, it's 40% skill, 60% will. Do you have the heart and the mind for this game? Because, you look at players, man, they think they can go out there with raw talent. Look at somebody like a Zach LaVine. You think I'm just talented, that's enough. That is not enough. You
No,
got to
right.
have the mentality.
Right, 100%. And something I think that you said that's really important
Thank
is
you.
understanding that guy.
Mhm.
Understanding that I am that guy, which segues into our next conversation. Man, we talked about this last week. We broke the news. If you haven't checked out episode 2,
Hold on,
definitely
though.
check out
First of
episode
all,
2.
though, let me just, before we end, let me
Mhm.
give a shout out to Wemby. I'm still not ready to just jump out the gym and say that this dude is gonna be an all-time great, but I'm gonna jump out the gym and say this dude is gonna be an all-time great.
Nah, I mean for real. And you know what though? I do have a topic that I added. If this episode is a little longer, we're not going over an hour and a half, but we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk. We're gonna have a real conversation because I think the Wemby Chet conversation is interesting. And I heard Shaq say something the other day that we're gonna talk about after this next topic about comparing him to Bobo that I think should be discussed because I disagree. But Rob mentioned it's about the mentality. It's about what you're going to bring, who you're going to be when you get there. And we broke the news last week, like I mentioned. Hey, did you check out
Hard.
episode 2? Did you check out episode 2? If you haven't checked out episode 2, you got to check out episode 2. We broke down the Harden trade, baby. Come on. You got to talk about it. But listen, we sold ourselves. Actually, that's a lie. We didn't. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. We didn't sell ourselves on him changing. We didn't say he was going to be different. And this is exactly what James Harden had to say about the system that is the Los Angeles Clippers, who, by the way, prior to James Harden hitting the floor, which we still haven't seen yet, have been on an absolute tear. Here's James Harden.
At least I'm not been just shooting the basketball every time. I'm a creator on the court. I'm not a system player. I am a system.
I'm sorry. I laughed when I heard him say that, dude. I was like, where do these basketball players, like, who is selling them a dream that they're better than what they think they are? Like, dude, what system are you? Because as I recall, you guys had the best chance in the world to dethrone the Warriors with KD. And Chris Paul goes down and you absolutely disappear.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't do anything in Brooklyn. You disappeared for Philly. What, like,
5 teams. 5 teams.
I just get frustrated with these guys because you're so talented. At one point in time, people were saying that James Harden had the potential to be, besides Mike and Kobe and D Wade, one of the greatest shooting guards ever.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't equate to anything.
And really quick. Thank you, Rob. No, Rob.
I'll
Thank
give
you,
it
Rob.
D Wade credit.
Thank you, Rob. You remember what happened last year?
Man,
You remember my rant? I almost got, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't checked out the ASAP network, definitely go show them some love. We definitely have done amazing things over at that network, and I still appreciate everybody over there. But I have gotten into heated conversations, and I know John and I know everybody else from the Shy that's in here today is rocking with us on this conversation as well. D Wade versus James Harden, there's no debate. It is
D Wade in his prime.
Wade.
In his prime?
In anything.
They didn't want that smoke with D Wade.
No. The Flash? Please stop playing. Hey, play with your mama, not with me, man. I ain't playing by D Wade.
Hey, we gotta put that on the shirt. Play with your mama.
Play with your mama, cause fuck, I ain't hearing any of that shit. Part of my language. Back to the show. But listen, right here is probably one of the hardest teams, no pun intended, that I've had to tackle in dissecting. We have 3 isolation players, 3 ISO guys on this team. Technically 4, but I want to give my flowers to the 4th one. Kawhi Leonard is an ISO guy. Paul George is an ISO guy. James Harden is an ISO guy. Russell Westbrook is an ISO guy, but I want to give him some love because to Rob said it last week, Russ has understood his role extremely well this year, but he did get cooked by LeBron James in the 4th quarter. But I will say that there are a lot
get cooked by LeBron in the 4th quarter.
On God, the real king of the 4th.
Hey, that's still LeBron James.
This season's for Bronny.
LeBron James.
Come on, stop playing with him. But nah, man, like I just think there's so many levels to it, and what Terrence Mann has been able to provide to this team, I think, was so important to their success. And thinking about James Harden coming into this system right now, Rob, if you want my honest opinion, and if you're not watching this on YouTube, you might not get it, but this was my honest reaction when I heard that. I just looked up at that man. If I am Terrence Mann, I am baffled that you wanted to bring in another ISO guy instead of creating amazing team chemistry, which is, wow, what a segue, because John just hit it right on the head.
John, talk your stuff, bro.
Man, John's got to be on the show, to be honest. But
my boy knows, man, me and him have conversations all the time, man. You got to, that's how much I love the game. I'm always around people that love the game.
Got to, bro. I don't want to talk to anybody else, bro.
You know, and chemistry is he talking about some old phone now. But chemistry is something that is very important to a team, man. And I think that's something that gets swept under the rug too much.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna mess up the whole build of this team by bringing in somebody like James Harden. To me, I hate to use that C word, but he's a cancer. He's a cancer to a team.
Hey, and Rob, stage 4.
Like, your team is gonna
no
die.
return.
Like, your team is gonna die, and unfortunately, you hate to say that about a guy with the talent of a James Harden, because he's somebody that can also open up the floor for guys. You know, he's used to getting his triple doubles in, and being an assist king as well. You know, James Harden many times has led the league in assists, but the thing is, does that equate to winning? You had Joel Embiid in his MVP year.
Tyrese Maxey as well.
Tyrese Maxey on the come up. Tobias Harris. I mean, a lot of people look and say, if James Harden didn't get swapped out with Jimmy Butler, had that been Jimmy Butler still with Philly would have a ring right now. That's a conversation.
Truly believe in my heart of hearts that if they would have who did they resign? They re-signed Tobias.
They let go of Jimmy for Ben.
Well,
they let go of Ben for James Harden.
Right, but the decision they had to make was Tobias Harris or Jimmy Butler, and what they found out was, what was it? Ben Brown? Was that the head coach's name at the time?
I know who you talk. No,
Mike Brown.
No, it wasn't Mike Brown. What was that guy's name? Was Mike? I don't think Mike Brown was coaching Philly at that time.
I think he was.
Was Mike Brown coaching Philly?
I think he was. Nah. I think because it was their head coach and Ben Simmons that had an issue with him. Let me make sure. I want to
Hold
make sure
on,
I'm
go
right.
ahead. You keep talking. You know me. I'm
Oh,
a
I'm
find
already
out.
knowing, but basically the story came out on JJ Redick's podcast for people that don't know, because I got Rob typing it up right now. This is the beauty of we were just, what's crazy? We could talk about it. Me and Rob are gonna give you the cheat code in life of starting a podcast. Always have a co-star. Always have number two, because listen, here's the secret that
It
y'all
was
don't know.
Brett Brown.
Brett Brown. I knew it was a motherfucking BB. I knew it was a double B. Ben Brown, Brett Brown,
Yeah,
Bobby Brown. I don't give a fuck.
it's,
Whoever it
it's
was
not.
did not like Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. They decided, hey man, you're hurting our feelings. We don't like the aggressiveness that you bring to this team. Rob Scott, is it safe to say, in my heart of hearts, that Philly would not have one but two championships from 2018 to now if Jimmy
I
Butler was still
I
on
would
that
say at least one. I give them at least one because I think at that time
playoff Jimmy?
Boston was your biggest rival.
And they were
Milwaukee,
premature too, from what we see now.
yeah, Milwaukee had one, but Milwaukee was. I think with the way that they could have played defensively with Jimmy Butler there, you can build that wall. And statistically speaking, Giannis has a problem when he goes up against Joel Embiid because you can't just bully Joel like that. He's a big dude too.
He said, like,
So
I'm going to come for you.
I think honestly, if we consider what Jimmy has done with Miami,
Mm-hmm.
and you give him a Joel Embiid as a co-star, you know what I'm saying? Or you give Joel Embiid, because Joel Embiid would have been a star of that team. You give
Yeah.
Joel Embiid a co-star like Jimmy Brown. I mean, like I said, Jimmy Butler. Oh my God, like
Man, it would
bro,
be a beautiful thing.
I'm just saying, bro, and that just shows you though. You know what? But it just shows you though the lack of aggressiveness and the lack of mental toughness from James Harden that you
Mm-hmm.
don't get. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. James Harden was in a perfect situation to rewrite history for the Philadelphia 76ers. He goes out there, he scores 40 points one time, and then he disappears. It got to the point where he wasn't even looking to shoot anymore, dude. If you were really watching the game in that series, man, he was passing up on open shots, getting to the lane, and then literally looking for 3-point shooters. And I'm like, dude, at least 5 shots I counted in one game. You could have just easily just laid the ball up. And
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? And that's a problem. And now, am I supposed to get all gung ho that he's going to the Clippers? Hell no. Especially because I know Coach Tyronn Lue don't play that. Like, and Coach Lue is somebody's gonna have to come out the bench. It would not be a smart thing to play all four of those guys at the same time.
No, horrible idea. Horrible idea. And you know what? I think one of the big things for me that I'm really looking at right now, Rob, and the one thing that I really want to talk about is, why are we doing this again? And I think the 76ers actually are the first ones to really feel this pressure. We've finally seen it. Other teams are looking at James Harden right now and saying, nah, bro, we're good. We're not. Remember, the Nets still got great value. Houston still
turned
got
him
great
down.
value. A bunch
Houston
of
turned
teams.
him down. That's what I'm
Houston
saying.
said, no, we're good.
Houston's in rebuild mode, and they were like, "No, we good."
Yeah, no, we're good. We're good on that. We'd rather have John Wall not playing on this team and still getting paid than pay James Harden. And here's my thing, Rob, that I think is one of the biggest things. When the only team that is interested is the Los Angeles Clippers, there's a problem. There is a problem. Now, Bomber's gonna get who he gets. No, he wants the names. He's got, and
He
rightfully
wants the
so.
names.
It's hard. It's hard to be the little brother, especially when the big brother is the Los Angeles Lakers. That's
and
like
they have
having a
LeBron James as their star.
like you can't compete. So he to his credit, he has done an amazing job. And by the way, the Lakers, for the first time since Lonzo Ball was a Los Angeles Laker, have defeated the Los Angeles Clippers. So I think that's pretty cool to say. But I want to transition to something that you mentioned. Rewinding the clock, rejuvenated, back and better like they never left. They are in there like swimwear. You heard, baby? The Golden State Warriors doing their thing. Rob and I's boy.
Hey, hold on, John. Did I tell you what we was gonna talk about? Because your comments been like going right into our
He's
segment.
doing it, bro.
You
He's
on
doing it.
point.
He's doing it. The Golden State Warriors are 6-1 on the season. Steph Curry is shooting 46.5% from three, averaging 30 points per game. And Klay Thompson just gamed the Sacramento Kings for the third time in NBA history. And guess what? The second time he did that joint, he dropped 37 points in the first quarter.
Back-to-back game winners by the Splash Brothers.
I mean,
As you
absolutely.
mentioned,
And
what
Curry's
because
was
Curry
crazy.
hit in the in-game tournament. I know that they, now technically, I think the rules state if two teams have a violation, it's supposed to be a jump ball. But I guess at that point, he had already hit the layup because Draymond did tap the ball from the other end,
And Josh Giddey got some shit for
but
it
Josh
too.
Giddey grabbed on the net. You can't do either one. So,
Yeah.
but to see what the Golden State Warriors are doing, Charles Barkley owed them an apology.
Mm-hmm. Well, I also think Charles sometimes just be talking though. I think that's, you know what I mean. I love Charles. Charles
I
does his
love
thing.
Chuck too.
Chuck,
Let me tell you something.
let me tell you something.
The Golden State Warrior, they're really old, 40 points with the point. Let me tell you something else, Kenny. These young boys just need to shut up and play.
You know who I love the most? I love Ernie because Ernie just be. Can
Ernie
everybody
just let
just
him
shut
talk.
the fuck up? No.
Ernie
Ernie's
just let him
tired.
talk, and then Ernie, he is the captain, the chief of that ship, man. I love me some Ernie Johnson, boy.
Dude,
I
an
swear,
absolute
inside
dog.
the NBA, they look like they just have the most fun and everywhere. Oh, my boy chiming in. Hey, I appreciate you for. Hey, y'all, look, I appreciate y'all tonight. The comments been cracking. You know what I'm saying? I love the engagement. And like I always say, if you guys want to see your comments, I'm sorry, my Spotify people. But if you want to see your comments pop up and you have questions for, Mike and Rob, just make sure you add your comment. You get to pop up on the screen. Get your time to shine, and we will answer your questions to the best of our ability. But let me tell you guys something right now. The Warriors are scary. Mike, what did I say? Who did I say was going to be MVP this year?
Steph Curry.
Thank you, Steph, for making me look right. Thank you, Steph, for making me look right. You made me look like a guru. You made me look like Rob Stradamus. I mean, I just know these things. I just know. I can tell the way he looked in the preseason, especially them getting rid of Jordan Poole and everybody talking about, oh, Jordan Poole is going to go to the Wizards and the Wizards are now going to make the playoffs and him and Kyle Kuzma are going to just have the ultimate green light. I said, what game have y'all been watching?
Yeah.
People don't really understand the value of Steph Curry. He's going to make everybody look good because he is a threat the moment he crosses half court. We have never seen a player like Steph Curry, a guy that as soon as he touches the ball and passes half court, he's a threat. That's why KD looks so amazing because who you going to leave? Clay or Steph open? Are you crazy? And now you look at Steve Kerr. Finally listen to us. Make the tough decision. Goes to Chris Paul and say, you know what? I got enough firepower for my starters. I need you to lead this second unit. And Chris Paul, being the ultimate professional, is taking that role on in stride. And he has been an asset to that second unit and those guys coming off the bench. My boy Gary Payton Jr. back, the mini glove out there catching. Did you see the alley hoop that Steph threw over his head? I said, oh my God. That's it. And you say he not a point guard? Are y'all crazy? See, that's why I don't talk about basketball with everybody. Because people don't know what they're talking about. Steph Curry is an all-time top 10 player. People call me crazy when I put him in my top 10 list.
What do you think?
Do I look crazy now?
What do you think about top 5?
You're not top 5 yet.
Where would you put him right now?
At probably 8.
8. We can do a top 10 episode too. Maybe we can do
can.
that next week.
Yeah, I got Steph at 8 because I don't even think Steph is the best point guard ever. I still give that position to Magic Johnson. Steph got a little bit more winning to do. But what Magic did, bro, he won 5 rings, 3 MVPs, and the fact that I know it was only for one game, but your all-star, all-time center goes down and you're able to go in there and play center and you get 45 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists. That's all I'm saying. Like Magic did things that, guys, do on 2K. he did
Right.
it in real life. You know
I
what I
think
mean?
here's my thing, right? Here's my drawback because obviously I'm 23. So I
Yeah,
understand who Magic is. And by the way, an amazing show that I feel like highlights it so well, which unfortunately got canceled by HBO Max or Max,
oh,
whatever it is
winning
now.
time.
Winning Time, the first
Yeah,
two seasons, I absolutely loved. I understand it wasn't everybody's cup of tea, but it really showed the young guns who this guy was, or
yeah,
an idea of who this guy was.
yeah.
And it definitely didn't even do that justice because it was hard to paint a picture of something so perfect. And his version of basketball was just effortless and beautiful, alongside with obviously Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But I do think, Rob, something that might change that.
Mhm,
When you think point guard,
mhm,
if you put 500 fans in a room, all different ages,
mhm,
and you say, name a point guard,
mhm.
how many do you think pick Curry over Magic?
Not
Do you
many.
think that's an age gap?
It's an age thing.
Right.
It's an
So
age thing.
what do you think truly at the end of the day is the difference maker between the two? Because one is the greatest three-point shooter ever and has changed the game, and the other was able to do things that we've never seen any point guard
He
do
was also a
the
game
way he did
changer.
it.
Without Magic Johnson, you wouldn't have got the Anthony Hardaways of the world. You wouldn't have got the T Max. You wouldn't have got the LeBron James. You wouldn't have got these oversized guards that can play point guard and still do their thing. Uh, being a 6'9" guard. So
Right. Ben,
Magic was definitely a game changer. He's the reason a lot of these tall guys. Because remember, at one point, if you were over a certain height, you were just trained a certain way. Like,
mhm,
you were gonna play center, whether you liked it or not, because you're big enough for it. We don't, 6'9" guys are not just out there growing off trees. You know what I mean? So, to be able to have confidence in a guy like Magic and to say, okay, Magic, I get that you're typically would be a center, but he trained as a guard, so what I always tell people is you have to be mindful of if you're gonna make top 10 lists, you're gonna have to look at things from all angles. You're gonna have to go back and look at the old film. Go have to find out about guys like Oscar Robertson and the George Gervins of the world, and the Earl the Pearls and all them type of people, man. You're gonna have to look at that because you can't just look at the new age because where you think these guys getting their game from? You know what I'm saying? Even look at a Michael Jordan. Who did he look up to? Dr.
right.
J. You know what I mean? So if you don't see that fro flying in the air and rocking the baby on Michael Cooper and other people like that, then you just don't understand. Now we get to kiss the rim for Michael Jordan because he saw Dr. J do it. So that's what I like to always say, man.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think it's a great conversation. I think we can definitely hear a lot of different people say that. And John's comment right here, he said, "Well, Magic was the first game changer," and then obviously,
That's what
that's
I said.
something.
He's the best point to me. He's the best point guard. He has 5 rings. He has three
Step back.
MVPs, but Steph only has one Finals MVP, and he has two. Now what I do say Steph has to his advantage is he's a 2-time MVP, and he's the only unanimous league MVP ever. Unanimous for all my people who don't know. That means everybody who had a vote voted for Steph. That has never happened. Now, a lot of that can be due to hate because you can't tell me there wasn't a year Michael Jordan played where everybody looked at
Right.
Mike and said,
Oh,
"That
I
man
don't
is the
think.
MVP."
Here's my thing. At the time, Steph Curry was so beloved at that time. I
Yeah,
don't think even if he were to do that same exact season and replicate that again, I don't think it's unanimous. I think you get one hater in the year 2023. I
yeah,
just think that's what it is. People are starting to hate the Warriors. They don't appreciate it. This was before the dynasty. This was
yeah.
before KD. This was before the 73 win season. This was prime new era Steph Curry. But I want
Hmm.
to transition it to something that is so much darker and so much more negative. Our guy, Randy Jowers. Big Jeezy, we love you, baby. We love you, but we got to talk some ish. We got to talk some Memphis Grizzlies.
Oh man.
0-6 to start the season.
Oh man.
Now, I want to highlight a couple things because I think it's important to the conversation. Steven Adams, before the
Hey
season started,
baby.
he's out. He's done. He's not coming back. Season-ending surgery. Brandon Clark, their starting power forward, Achilles injury. No timeline for him after suffering a torn Achilles in March. Derrick Rose already out with a left knee soreness, so it's nothing crazy, but it's definitely enough to keep him out. Santi is out as well. He has an ankle. He will not be playing on or what was yesterday. And then obviously, Ja Morant still has 19 games left on his suspension. So, Rob, the 0-6 start, when does the panic button set in?
Oh, they
Without Ja
already
Morant?
panicking. They already panicking
You think so?
because you can't afford in this tough Western Conference. You can't afford to go down no 0-6. I'm just sorry. Losing 6 games in a row is not even the situation now where you fighting for your playoff life. You fighting for your play-in life. Uh, Unfortunately, I hate to beat a dead horse. You know what I mean? Pause on that. But Ja, this is all on you. Your stupidity has your team in 0-6 right now. The fact that you wanted to flash guns and you wanted to live this gang lifestyle when you're a damn millionaire. Who the hell makes millions of dollars and then decide they want to be in the streets? I just don't understand that. But this is all on you, bro. And I hate to blame you. I know you trying to rebuild your life, and I hope you come back better than ever. Just because you get judged does not mean or critique does not mean that you cannot change. And I want everybody to understand that. Just because you get judged does not mean that you cannot change.
Right.
It's okay. We all make mistakes, but you have to take those judgments to the chin because it was you that made the damn mistake. And if you wasn't going around flash, I don't care what it was. You said it wasn't even a real gun; it was a lighter. Whatever it was, you knew that your name had been in situations revolving.
It was a lighter.
Involving firearms, right? Why would you even play those games? You know what the old
Mhm.
saying go: play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Now you're suspended for 25 games. You're not getting paid for these 25 games, and your team is now 0-6, and it looks like the Grizzlies are in shambles. Everybody had high expectations for the Grizzlies, and this is all a result to your stupidity. And Ja, you got to take that one to the chin. I'm sorry.
100%, 100%. But you know what? You know what I kind of want to talk about. I thought it was a light, man. At this point, also really quickly, I saw our girl Joy Scott in the building.
Wifey,
I wanted to shed some light really quickly on Rob Scott's
what's
coin.
up, nephew?
Really quick though, I want to give a shout out to all the teachers in Chicago because this year has been absolutely tough with all of the refugees and everything that they have going on throughout the city
Facts,
right now. It has been an
facts.
absolute shit show. The city is not doing them justice. I mean, I'm all for people coming here for
To better their lives,
to
but it's
better
just
their lives and
the way that you do it, man.
to just be safe. But the way they've gone about it is fucked. And I can say that because I don't work for CPS. Y'all bogus as fuck. Y'all don't care about the kids we already have. Nonetheless,
Not even just the kids, man.
the teachers. They
The
just they're
us. They don't care about us,
man.
And I'm gonna speak on the black community, man. Like, okay, we're all for the betterment of people too, and I want to get away from this subject because I like to try to stay sports.
Yeah.
I don't like to get political because if people really hear what I got to say, there'll be a lot of people that hate me.
It
But
can be a lot of
it's for the to take these refugees and to just storm in our neighborhoods, you know, close down the very few institutions we have for young kids to escape and get away and just throw them all up into these old gyms and old schools and old buildings. And they just sleeping in front of the police stations and
bro. I've
you
seen
don't see
in
that
my
in our
neighborhood
neighborhood. You know what I'm
people
saying? Like,
sleeping in front of people's houses type shit. Like
yeah,
it's crazy.
it's ridiculous, and you know what I'm saying. My thing is, if you're gonna have all these people come in, just have a plan.
Just
You know
have a
what I'm
game
saying?
plan.
Hey, and in no way am I agreeing with everything that Trump did, but the one thing I will say that I agree with is we need to stop putting us first. We need Americans. We worry about the world's problems. I get that we are a world superpower, but we're gonna lose that superpower if we continue to worry about everybody else and not take care of home first.
And hopefully Rob Scott and Mike Hughes will be long gone by the time that happens because I don't want to deal with none of that shit. But
Hey, I
think,
know I couldn't be no president, man. You ever seen Barack Obama?
man,
Like,
he
like
looked tired.
no, when he was in office, he looked old. He looked beat down. He was
Mm-hmm.
just like, man. Now you see him, he jet skiing with Richard Brunson,
Mm-hmm.
and the man, him and his wife are looking good. He back looking youthful. He back hooping again. I could not be the president of the United States of America
Mm-hmm.
because you know what? Guess what? Everybody going down. I'm there. You know what? Everybody get out my face. You know.
100%. But you know what? You said it right there. Next transition, next topic. John, if John comments this next thing I'm about to say, it's his show. I'll leave. I promise. But back hooping, better than ever. Like he never left. For 2 weeks, he was in the abyss of what was the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah.
And is now on one of the best teams in the NBA. Drew Holiday and the Boston Celtics.
Okay. I had to see where you was at with going with
Come
that. 'Cause
on.
I thought you was about to say Milwaukee. I'm about to say,
Get out of
hey,
here. Basura.
the jury is still out on Milwaukee.
No, the
Everybody
jury's
is
out.
ready to crown them champions. I kept telling people, you gotta wait to see how it works.
But here's what I want to ask you, Rob. Who got the better end of the deal? Wait, too premature to ask you this, but I'm about to ask you. You ready for this? Buckle up.
Ask away.
Who won? Jason Tatum or Giannis?
I will honestly have to say Boston won this one. Right now, it is not just Drew Holiday. Porzingis has blown me away with his play. I knew Porzingis was good.
He's locked into another bag.
But he is focused, right? You can tell he's happy to be with Boston. You can tell Boston is happy to have him. The dude has been everything that you kind of asked Anthony Davis to do. Porzingis is doing it.
I'm gonna name a guy. You ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. Now, when I name this guy, I want you to get an 8-ball and snort that whole thing, and I'll put that player on the court. You ready for this? Torrey Craig on crack is how Porzingis is playing right now. Instead of just being a role player, which he is, I will say Porzingis is a role player on this team.
He is. He's just
but he is playing at an elite.
He has maximized his role.
I mean, he's on crack. He's cracked out of his mind right now. Like on Fortnite with the sticks, that man is gone. That man is crazy. I mean, he is absolutely crazy right now, man. He is a part of Dub City. That's what I'm calling them. We already got Dub Nation. I ain't messing with Dub Nation, but Dub City is in Boston, Rob. Do you think – here's what I wanted to know,
you know what? That's Title Town now.
Mm-hmm.
Boston is Title Town.
It's Title Town. But, Rob, do you think the only thing that I've heard Marcus Spears talk about it today and also Kendrick Perkins. Not Marcus Spears. Kendrick Perkins and somebody talked about it today. It wasn't Marcus, though. But they were talking about it, and they said,
but we love you, though, Swagoo.
We do. But they were basically saying they're not surprised by this. They're not shocked by how he's playing. The only thing they care about is come playoffs, do you think he's going to be available?
You need his health. That was my only concern. I knew Porzingis can play. My thing with him, his defensive tenacity has been what shocked me. Like the fact that he's bought into playing on both sides of the floor. But I knew offensively, I've seen what he's done with New York, and Porzingis is a dog. You know what I mean? He's a dog. I will say this though. Me and you both said about what Drew Holiday can do for a team.
Come on.
And
we were the only ones, to be honest with you.
Because Drew, I don't understand how you go win a ring with somebody and then you still overlook this dude. Milwaukee didn't win until Drew got there. How do you win this ring?
He was the X factor that changed everything.
He was. And held it down when Giannis and Middleton were both interchangeable in and out of the lineup. Drew held it down. I mean, didn't he have a 50-point game? You know what I'm saying? It's like Drew is a dog. And I said it. I said what he's going to do is he's going to help the defense out with Jaylen Brown on the perimeter. He's going to guard the opposing player's best wing player, and he's going to shut that shit down. And that's what he's been doing. Like, Boston right now, if you ask me, besides Denver, they look to be the scariest team in the league. They just beat Indiana by 51 points, bro. They scored 155 points in a game.
The
And I want
boy.
to give a shout out to the unspoken hero in Boston, my boy, little Michael Pritchard. Hey, Prince. Prince is a dog, boy. You know what
Got
I'm
to
talking
give some
about?
love to Derek White too. Derek White became
Oh
Michael
yeah.
Jordan for a little bit with that bald head. He was going cool.
Hey, that boy Prince though, man. I don't know what it is. I like Pritchard.
Crazy, crazy. But I do too. You know who else I really liked on that team?
Peyton Pritchard. I said Michael Pritchard. I'm sorry. I know somebody named Michael Pritchard.
Who did they
Peyton Pritchard
trade?
is his name.
Who did they trade away? It was that 3-point shooter they had that I feel like they never. Aaron Nesmith they traded away. That I feel like they just did not give him enough opportunity to show what he could potentially be. But Rob, on the other side of town, going to the Midwest, the Milwaukee Bucks right now are currently the sixth team.
Mm-hmm.
The sixth team, not in the league, in the
Mhm.
Eastern Conference. Right now, as it sits, the Celtics are at 1, 76ers are at 2, the Atlanta Hawks.
It's like a 5-way tie with
Yep.
Indiana, Atlanta, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, and Orlando. Didn't I tell you Orlando was tough, bro? You didn't want to hear me. I told you.
I heard you. It was just one of those. I
I
question their
told you.
guards. I question their
I
guards.
know basketball, bro.
But one team that I'm happy is finally starting to actually show up is the Atlanta Hawks. I think there were a lot of questions about DeJounte Murray and Trae Young. And even though Trae Young hasn't been shooting the lights out of the ball, I think he's really finding a way to get wins. And I know it's only been 5 games, but
Trae is never going to shoot the lights out on the ball. Trae is a volume shooter. He's not a efficient shooter.
right.
He's going to kill you because he's going to get up 25 shots. And out of those 25, he might hit 9, 10 of them. And he might have those nights where he shoots 50%. But Trae is Trae. But he can get away with that because of his court vision and what he can do besides scoring the ball. You know, that little he's a little scrappy dude, man. I got love for Trae. But with the whole Milwaukee situation, man, you know, you lost a lot defensively with Drew and getting Dame. And honestly, it's sad to say if Dame is not scoring 40, 50 points, you start to ask
And
yourself,
that was what I was going to ask you. It's right here. I have the stats up right now. Obviously, the Bucks are sitting at 3-2 on the year, tied for third place, but still at 6. I don't want to hear it. As the analytics go, if the season ended today, they would be 6 in the East, which is a huge drawback. Damian Lillard, averaging 33.6 minutes per game, has 23 points on the dime, shooting 41% from the field, 34% from 3, 4.5 rebounds, 4.5 assists, almost a steal a game, and almost barely even a block a game, not almost. But right now, 23, 4, and 4. When you give up one of the better, I should say, not the best, but one of the better defensive guards and facilitators in the league. I'm gonna say the best because you know me, I love me some True Holiday. Do you think this has been a disappointment thus far, and what do you think needs to change in order to get Milwaukee back where they need to be?
I won't go that far and say disappointment. We expected Dame to be better. It's been games that Dame hasn't been the Dame that we know, and it kind of makes me think about last season when he was on the court. There were times where you were asking yourself, like, man, you know, is Father Time catching up to Dame? You know, now granted, this is their first year together, so you expect to be there to be some growing pains. I think the difference between Milwaukee and Boston is that Boston still has its core. They still have Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Derek White. So, you know, bringing in a Drew Holiday and a Porzingis is kind of easier to get those guys acclimated in due to the fact that they are coming into a core that's already together. Same thing with Chris Paul and the Golden State Warriors. You still have your core of Draymond, Clay, and Steph. So to get Chris Paul acclimated in is different. Now you look at Milwaukee, they got Chris Middleton and Giannis, but you know, Middleton has been in and out of the lineup, so he's still trying to find himself. And you lose somebody defensively in Drew Holiday, but you get this offensive firepower in Dame. But remember, at first your go-to was Giannis, so now they have to get acclimated in. Okay, down the stretch, do we go Dame or do we go Giannis? And a lot of times you've been looking at it now. Giannis is kind of deferring to Dame. He's like, "This is your team, bro. This is your team. Go crazy." And you know, Dame, he's gonna have to knock down those open shots because Giannis you're gonna have to find a way to get these teams to stop building that wall on Giannis. And like I said, my thing with Milwaukee is as great as they can be, unless Giannis adds some type of element to his game where he's not just relying on running and dunking, they're not going anywhere.
100%, 100%. But we have one last topic of tonight. I didn't
Hmm.
tell you about it. I want the raw reaction. I don't want
Hmm.
no prep. I don't want to hear nothing. Because listen, for people that don't know, we are not millionaires. So Mike Hughes has another job outside of this that I despise and that I do not want to do. But I do it every single day. So what helps me get through my day is listening to NBA Tonight, Through the Wire, Kenny Beecham podcast, and so many other NBA podcasts, NBA sports podcasts. And I ain't gonna lie to you. Tomorrow I'll do it. I only do it twice a week. It's because I'm listening to our episodes. I want to make sure they sound good. I want to make sure we doing things, taking notes. I always listen to Mike and Rob, so make sure you checking out Welcome to Mars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But we do not discriminate, except for Google. We do not have Google Podcasts. No one listens to that shit. If you're listening to that shit, I will pay for you to get Spotify. But with that being said, man, I'm listening. I hear the people. I hear what they're saying. They're saying the king has taken a step back.
Who LeBron?
I've heard Rob Scott. I have heard someone even say that it is a disappointment after saying he dedicated this season to Bronny the way he's come out. Now, I want to say first and foremost, as it currently sits, the Lakers are the 5th seed at 3-2. There's no difference there. I mean, it is a deep West. I will say that, but it's only by a game. LeBron James on the year is averaging 35.6 minutes per game, 24.5 points, shooting 56.5% from field goal, 35.5% from three, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, and a steal a game and a block a game. Rob, was part of my language, but what the fuck, man? Because if we're judging LeBron James in year 21,
Please, I just had to reiterate.
24, 9, and 6 with a block and a steal a game. Great defense. Absolutely shit on Russell Westbrook the other day, which was crazy in the fourth quarter. But Russ had a great first 3 quarters. I will say that. To defeat the Clippers for the first time since Alonzo Ball and Big Baller Brand were still together in LA. Looking at that, Rob, man, here's what I heard. All right. This is me, Mike Hughes, sitting up here today. When I heard this season's for Bronny, after everything we heard about LeBron James' son, Bronny James, and Bryce, man, this didn't mean I'm going out there and winning a championship. To me, this meant I am going to do everything in my power to make sure that I am still on this court. I am still in this game by the time you guys enter the league. That's what I took it as. And I think that's exactly what we're seeing. He's not taking a step back. LeBron is preserving his body and his mind by not going out there. And respectfully, Victor Wembanyama, 38 and 10 is awesome when you're 18, 19 years old. You can do that. No problem. In October, for sure. Why not? My brother in Christ, it's fucking October. I don't need LeBron to score 50 in October.
No, he's already done that before. My thing with that is, as you mentioned, we're talking about a guy in year 21. We're talking about a guy that's going to be 39 years old in December, and he's still the best player on the Los Angeles Lakers. If anybody want to say anything, not shame on LeBron, shame on Anthony Davis for not taking the mantle and saying, okay, Bron, job well done. I'll take it from here. That's what I'm saying. If you mentioned it earlier, my brother Mike, them going against the Clippers. You had Kawhi, who had a great game. Paul George had a great game. Russell Westbrook had a great game. Anthony Davis had a great game. Who was the best player on that floor? It was LeBron. And that's what I'm saying. We got a guy in year 21 still doing amazing things. I remember even on the car ride to work, me and my wife were talking, and I told her, I'm like, it's amazing what this guy is doing in year 21. Like, you know what I mean? I have not always been the biggest LeBron fan. I've always been a fan of LeBron the man, what he's done for Cleveland and the I Promise
Oh, well,
School
Rob,
and everything.
Rob, I'll do this for us. I'll do this for you because I know you don't like to publicly say it. I'll say it. When Derrick Rose was a Chicago Bull, fuck LeBron James.
Yeah, I wasn't with
fuck
LeBron.
Fuck Cleveland, fuck LeBron, fuck Miami, and respectfully at the time, D Wade, it wasn't fuck you, but I was looking at you funny. I was like, you in the way right now, my brother. The second Derrick Rose shipped off, I said, hey, I'm gonna just start respecting greatness. That's just what it was.
Yeah, so you're right about that though. But you know what I'm saying? But regardless if you're a fan of the man or not, to deny that what you've seen from him in his 21 illustrious careers as a NBA superstar has not been all but great, then you're a hater, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That just you don't know basketball. LeBron James is going to go down as one of the greatest to ever do it. And even now, at this stage in his career, most nights he's on the floor, he's the best player on the floor, and that should not be so. That should not be so. Right? He's publicly said it. I'm pretty sure he's privately said it. He's went to Anthony Davis and said, Anthony, I need you to take over. I need you to show me what you did in New Orleans and all the things that you did to make me and Rich Paul do everything in our power to get you to LA. Like, don't depend on me. I'm depending on you, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you? All right. So here's one for you, right? I got this for you. I'm excited about it because this one's one of those conversations that you have to potentially part ways with your fourth championship. If LeBron knew then what he knows now in regards of Anthony Davis's play availability and ability to take that mantle or not, do you think he makes that trade?
If he knows he's gonna win his fourth ring, he does. Because LeBron is still chasing ghosts. I mean,
you don't think he would go after somebody else though?
No, because at that time, who do you go get? Like you needed what Anthony Davis bought in the bubble. You needed it. When he's available and he's focused, he's a dog.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best two-way players in the league. Because yes, ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Davis can potentially be in conversations for Defensive Player of the Year every year.
Yep.
Like he's a great two-way player. So, it's all about his motor. With me, it's not his mentality. It's his health and his motor. Because when he's playing, I need you to be giving me 110% effort every night. If you gave Anthony Davis Giannis's motor, oh my God.
Cracked out their mind, Rob. Cracked out their mind. So
but
I got a question for you though.
Yeah.
That's how we're gonna end the show.
Okay.
$100.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put in a parlay tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna fuck around and find out. If I'm broke, just know next show we do, the lights will be off. But if I win.
I seen some candles, my boy.
That's just weird though. Halloween's over. I'll be a weird dude in the dark. But $315 payout. All I need is a Denver Nuggets win against the Chicago Bulls.
They got that in the bag.
20 points from Jokic.
I never know with Jokic and his scoring.
I know. But here's the thing. 9.5 assists and 10 rebounds. I'm looking at a triple-double for Jokic. Is that...
That's doable. I mean, he's playing Vucevic.
That's what I'm saying. So, but the 20 points gets me because sometimes that man will give you 20 boards and 10 points.
That's what I'm saying. And it depends on if other players start to go. Like if Jamal Murray comes out and he's hot, you might be in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because then he's just going to play through Jamal. But the good thing is Jokic is going to get at least 10 points just off rebounds.
Right.
You're going to get at least 10 off rebounds.
So what do we think about the assists? 9.5 too much?
I would do 7. I would do 7 or 8.
You would do 7 or 8. I'm trying to check out what he's been doing this year.
He's averaging a triple-double this year.
Nah, he's not actually.
What is he at now?
You're a genius. You're so smart. You're the smartest man in the room. This is why it's the Rob show and not the Mike show. This is just Rob. He's actually averaging 7 assists, and you told me to pick 7. He's averaging 7.7 assists per game.
What I'm saying.
And I think that's a big part to, like you said, Jamal Murray just being an absolute monster. But we'll see what happens. Me and Rob are going to talk about it.
And you need guys to knock down open shots. Not every night Michael Porter Jr. is going to be knocking down those open threes and things like that. But yeah, I mean, if you look at if you look at all 5 games he played, against Memphis he had 7, against OKC he had 5, then Utah he had 11 assists, and then against Minnesota on the first he only had 3. Then he came right back with 9 assists versus Dallas. So it's really depending on who's hot. It's depending on who's hot.
I'm with it, Rob. I'm
But
excited.
you might be safe with your 20-point bet because he haven't scored less than 22 in all his games. So
I might just let it ride, Rob. I'm not gonna lie.
go ahead, man. It's called a gamble for a reason.
My mama gonna be mad. No, I'm playing.
But
The Bulls win. The Bulls win. I'll literally.
Oh my God, that'll happen. That'll happen. You know,
they never let me win. That's the thing. They always sell me, no matter what it is. But we appreciate you guys for listening, man. We're always winning when you guys are here, and we appreciate everybody on Facebook today tuning in. John, thank you for being a wizard. John, I got some questions about you, bro. I
gotta introduce you to him, man. That's my best friend. He was one of the best men in my wedding, man.
Yeah, I think there's a crystal ball in his room, man. He be knowing what we talking about today. Very weird, very strange.
That's one of my 15-year partner, man.
Yes, sir.
That's my
guy. Yes, sir.
That's why I got to get you out. I know you up north, man. I got to get you out south, man. Come kick it with
man. Let me know. Anytime.
You know, you always welcome to come.
The only place I don't like to go is west. I do not fuck with they crack. I'm not gonna be mean, but they different out there. There is no laws out there. No laws in the west. You could just do whatever. You could literally go to a bank and just demand whatever, and no cops are coming. No one's gonna save you. That's another thing. Me and Rob could just have a whole podcast talking about the fuck shit in this city, but that's a whole different podcast. If you haven't already, check out episode 1. Check out episode 2 later tonight. I didn't want to do it. I'll talk to Rob about it if I actually end up doing it, but I wanted to do it. I know we weren't doing Welcome to Mars at the time, but I would like to add the Ice Cube interview to our YouTube channel and Spotify because I think it'll be a lot of fun. I definitely think so. And we're going to be doing another interview with Cube sometime this winter or earliest in the spring, talking about the big 3, him getting ready. So that's going to be a lot of fun, wrapping that up again. But if you haven't already, follow us on Say No to Out West Illinois. No. Hell no. But we appreciate you guys for being here. We appreciate you guys for always tuning in, following us. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts at Welcome to Mars Podcast. You can see Rob's beautiful face and a big basketball shaped like Mars as the logo, or you can follow us on YouTube. We need them subscribers up, man. We truly do. I'm not a big subscriber guy. I'm not a big view guy. I really don't care. But it would just show us that what we doing right now is all gonna be worth it, baby.
But we appreciate the interaction. I think it's been a great interactive show.
Oh, the interaction over everything.
And hey, it only goes up from here, baby. As I always would say on Rob's 2 cents, we just getting started.
And you know, when it's up,
it's stuck
like butter, baby. Until then, we appreciate you guys for listening. We'll check you guys out. Rob, what are we rocking with? Tuesday, Wednesday?
Wednesdays.
Let's rock out Wednesday night. We'll see y'all on Hump Day, baby. Until then, we are in there like swimwear. Enjoy the games this weekend. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen.